how does that work out practically? Like, do you have a way of sharing the needs that people in your community have, so that, like, I need a lawnmower, or I need someone to help paint my house, or that kind of, how does that play out?
There's a lot of that. Like, for almost every need, there is an organization that provides or that helps, or that, because everyone is looking to serve. And it starts, of course, at home. You got to serve your own family, your own neighborhood, but it doesn't end. If you've taken care of your family and your neighborhood, well, next. What about your country? What about God? What about humanity? So it's a frame of mind. It's a mental state. We are here to serve. Give me a purpose. Somebody need me, please. Because I don't want to wallow in my needs. So when somebody has a need, it doesn't annoy me. I'm happy to hear it. Particularly that God has a need for me. Nobody can take that away. So the remaining question is, what does God need?
Yeah, that's my question. Because I always thought if I grow up, get married to a great guy, which I did, and then have a bunch of kids. But we've been married 22 years now, and we haven't a child. And so I was like, so what is my purpose? Not that I typical, I need to be a mom and have kids, and that wasn't it. It was just something that I've always been drawn to children. I helped raise some of my cousins, different things. I've always been like more of a mentor type of person. I've always liked being around children, teaching them and showing them, and giving them inspiration so that they can be the best person they can be. So when we didn't have any kids, I was like, okay, so what is my purpose? How do I find a purpose?
Well, essentially, we are attracted to children because we know they need us. That we know for sure. Yeah. Who else needs you? I don't know. We'll think about that. But your children need you. And that is so appealing, to be needed. Right? So when there are no children, it means you've got a bigger audience. There's a bigger crowd that needs you, and you can do for them. But what you're looking for is to serve those who need you. And it doesn't have to start from the bottom. It can start from the top. God needs you. But for what? What do your children need you for? That's pretty obvious. No mystery there at all. With God, it's a little more challenging. What does he need? And how am I supposed to know? And how do I know if he's pleased with what I'm giving him? So these are mystical questions. But when God came down to Mount Sinai 3,300 years ago, he told us what he needs. That's what the Bible is all about. It's about him, not about us. So if you've read the Bible, imagine if you rewrote it in first person, what is it called? First person singular? Instead of, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, imagine it saying, in the beginning, I created heaven and earth. And I put Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and I told them not to eat from that tree, but they did. So I had to throw them out. If you put it that way, it's much more obvious that this is about him, not about us. So God said, thou shalt not murder. God said, reword it. I gathered the people at Mount Sinai and I told them, you should not murder. It makes it so much, the direct voice is some. So the Bible is basically telling us what God needs. The confusion started that God needs different things from Jews than he needs from non-Jews, because we're the priestly nation. Priests got to do more stuff. And then people got confused. Well, who exactly are the priests? And that's where religion began. We'll be the priests. And then another group comes along, no, we'll be the priests. And we haven't had peace ever since. But if you just read the Bible, there are 7 commandments that all human beings need to obey. 7, not even 10. And if any human being that abides by these 7 commandments is a righteous person, you're doing what you were created to do. No mysteries, no guesswork. For Jews, there are 613 commandments. Yeah. That was my reaction to it. I can't even count to 613. But yeah, there are 613. And that's a pretty full-time job. But what we're doing is what God needs of us. So if all human beings would share this responsibility, if like tomorrow morning everybody wakes up and says, enough with my needs, tell me what God needs, would we have a perfect world? So to make the world perfect doesn't take that much. Just a little switch from needy to needed, which is psychologically healthy as well, and the world is perfect. So again, this is what unites us. If Jews were really doing what Jews are supposed to do perfectly, all 613, which we were doing during the reign of King Solomon, and it wasn't good enough, because everybody's got to be in it. Everybody's got to do their share. So we get scattered throughout the whole world to bring the message to everywhere and everyone. Let's serve God. Stop worrying about your needs. It'll only make you depressed and lonely. And that's not healthy. So I think that now we're in a very good position. The world is curious, as evidenced by your presence here. The world is curious to find the most authentic view of life, not another exotic view of life. We're done with experimenting. Now we want to know what's always been real, rock solid, tested and proven. So now we have an opportunity to share all of this. And then we also have the blessing of the media highway. We can share everything and anything with the entire world in seconds. It's a great blessing. So the world can be more united today than ever before. And yet we find ourselves more splintered than ever before because we're focused on the wrong thing.